So tell me if I'm wrong. If I just slurp my coffee for an hour, I can just call it modern art. I can just call it performance art. I'm not going to slurp my coffee. I was at a museum, a couple of years ago, and I was watching this art movie, a small clip, going, this is what I should have done with my life. I should have just made movies that no one understands and call it art. The Disappointed Cat Morning Show. You are all going to be sick and tired of me by the end of today if you watch every single one of my 4 shows that I'm doing. Disappointed Cat Morning Show, Liberal Politics, and Atheism, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, Open Room. If people show up, I do an open room. 3 o'clock, I get my Zen on with some Jenga. And tonight, Michael Weissman coming on. He's going to talk about his new book, The Bible Says What? It's going to be a crazy day. Hello, everyone. Let's do something funny.
A Watergate salad from 1976. One of the many questionable substances people experimented with in the 70s. Pistachio pudding. In you go. Crushed pineapple. Hello, you are very green, sir. Cup of fluffy boys. Smells like a Palm Springs retirement home. Time to beat it. Cooperate. Perfect. Good night. Optional walnuts. Walnuts are never optional. Oh my. Nixon wished it was this easy. Cheers. Ooh. Yep. Nixon would have loved this. It's not bad. It's just a cup of diabetes. I can feel my teeth rotting.
All right, this is a good way to start the day. Before we start talking about the news, what are we going to talk about for news stories today? Thank you. I'm sure that you're all very interested in this. Germany is going to be paying, it's going to be paying people in Namibia, one of its old colonies, reparations. Oh, they're not going to, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's pretty exciting stuff. Second news story. Oh, Capitol rioters, feeling sad that they got caught. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Capitol rioters from January 5th. The Guardian and Consumer Reports just did a report on the United States water supply. Is it as bad as you think? That's not even a question, Andy. That's just, it is. You just know it's as bad. And Dave Ramsey, Christian, evangelical, financial guru, firing people for having premarital sex. I wish that was a fake story. It is not. Hello, everyone. I'm going to say hello to the chat. Well, look, my green screen's all effed up today. That's great. I'm going to spend some incredible time here messing around with my, hey, look, so now I'm in focus. Now I'm in frame. And so is my green screen. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to check out the chat and see how everyone's doing. That guy looks like before Steve Rogers. Let's see. Oh, I missed Tobin Templeman's joke this morning. Why doesn't the cat want to say, when a cat doesn't want to say goodbye, what do they say instead? See you later. Oh, I see that. Very nice. Very good. Very good. Simply Secular Dave, good to see you here, sir. Scott Duke, believe nothing. July 4th. It's April 1st. I just want to talk about me for a second or two. Some of you may find this comical that today is my official divorce day. This is the day that I walked out of the court 6 years ago, a free man. So yes, today is my official divorce day. If I was king of the world, I would make this a holiday. Liberation Day, Emancipation Day. All right, let's see who else is here. Wild Eden, Derek Cruz. Good morning, everyone. Brainbug, is Brainbug here? Oh, hey, buzzing. Good to see you, Brainbug. And John Hudson, always a pleasure, sir. How's everybody on the Disappointed Cat Show? Well, I so far so good. So far so good. Busy day for me today. Trauma day, Emancipation Day. That's what it is for me. I always look forward to, if it wasn't the apocalypse, to tell you the truth, if it wasn't the usual gang is here, that's right. If it wasn't the apocalypse, if I could go out to the pub, I would go out and celebrate my divorce day. But can't do that, right? That's not really safe. So, that's what I have to say about April Fool's Day. Of course, I do my regular, for me on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief, every day is April Fool's Day, where I get to make fun of the rich, the powerful, the would-be theocrats, the oligarchs that we have. And so, for me, April Fool's Day, I believe every day is Fool's Day. Feel good, Andy. I'm feeling it today, Dr. Mordecai. I'm feeling it. All right, so let's do some funny stuff. Let's do some memes, maybe. Let's do some memes before we get into hip deep in the news. And what's this? Is it a cat? Right. See, Jumbo Cat Tree Condo Incorporated. The cat's like, I love this box. I love it. And this is funny, a little geeky, a little nerdy. A basic syllogism right here. A, the box has 360 degrees angle. B, 360 degrees in a circle. So that means C must equal the square equals the circle. Does it equal the circle? Is the square the same thing as the circle? It is not. It is not at all. So it's not. And what's the last one? Hey, good afternoon. Oh, it's good afternoon for you. Very good. Phil Lister. And Dr. Osiris, my favorite DC hero, Golden Age hero right here. Dr. Osiris. All right. Simply Secular Dave. That's funny, Dave. Thank you. Hey, Sean. Happy Fool's Day. Happy April Fool's Day. All right, one more joke before we get into the news cycle here. Me coming out of lockdown with all the random shit I ordered online. Hi, it's me. Yeah, I really haven't ordered a whole lot online. Sure, I ordered a Jenga game, I believe. What did I do? I ordered this nifty tripod that I have right now, that I'm able to share my Jenga games with you all at 3 p.m. I have that. But to tell you the truth, I just don't buy a lot of crap in general. Yeah. Let's see, chat. Dr. Osiris, new member. Thank you, Dr. Osiris. Thank you. I'm actually looking for, once again, every penny counts, every drop counts. Hallelujah. Praise the fictitious Lord. I've been looking for jobs, and I'm going to be in conversations with someone about doing some overnight work, which, my goal, of course, is to make sure that I can do everything that I'm doing now, plus work, plus getting, not a regular 9 to 5. I haven't worked a regular 9 to 5 job for forever. Yeah, we'll go with forever. So my goal is to have a job while still doing the blog, still doing this. And I think I'll be able to do it. But thanks for the support, Dr. Osiris. Much appreciated, sir. Much appreciated. All right. So, hey, got a super sticker from Dr. Osiris. So what's the first story? Germany. We're going to talk about Germany, and we're going to talk about reparations. They're not calling it reparations, but what they are saying, gosh, we did a genocide here about 100 years ago. Maybe, and the effects of the genocide are still being felt to this day. Maybe we should try to make good. Maybe we should try. We can't make it all right, but maybe there's some kind of restorative justice that we can do about this. Maybe there's some kind of restorative justice. And it's going to cause a lot of potential problems with other ex-colonial powers, because if Germany starts handing money over to people who live in Namibia, which was German Southwest Africa, for those of you map geeks out there, history geeks out there, Because if the Germans start paying reparations, what does that mean for the Brits or for the French or even for the Belgians? I'm getting ahead of myself. All the links are in the description, everyone. All the links are in the description. Germany and Namibia, what is the right price to pay for genocide? I don't know what the right price is. A deal that could be set a precedent for former colonies all around the world is being thrashed out between Germany and Namibia to heal the wounds of what's now widely regarded as a genocide by colonial forces. But how do you make up for destroying an entire society? In Namibia, descendants of both victims and colonizers are arguing fiercely about the talks. What price do you pay for destroying a society? I don't know. For those that we're just going to catch everyone up with the history of German Southwest area, we're talking about the years 1904 to 1908, when present-day Namibia was a German colony in Southwest Africa. Tens of thousands died as colonial forces brutally suppressed uprisings by two of the main peoples of the country. I'm going to go with Herero and Nama, killing many and driving others into a desert. That desert in the east of the country, where many starved to death. Survivors ended up in camps where they were used as slave labor, dying of cold, malnutrition, exhaustion, and violence. As many as 65,000 of the 80,000 Herero living in Southwest Africa at the start of the colonial rule are estimated to have perished, as well as perhaps 10,000 of the estimated 20,000 Nama. Since 2015, when Germany formally acknowledged that the atrocities constituted genocide, has been negotiating a restorative justice deal with Namibia that will set a global precedent. Never before has a former colonial power sat down with a former colony in this way to work out a comprehensive agreement about the legacy of the past. Now, you may say to yourself, and this is what many Republicans or right-wingers or people in Namibia who are maybe they're the great-grandchildren of the colonizers would say, well, what's so bad? We did it 100 years ago. That's history. It doesn't really carry over. The effects of I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is the reason. This is the rationale of the people against reparations in Namibia. It's like, well, that was then. The effects of the genocide don't really carry over 100 years, do they? I think they do. Here, let's see. I'm just going to read a part of this. And today, most Herero, and this is second part of the first paragraph, and today, most Herero and Nama live either in small, overcrowded areas of communal land that were later allocated to them, or in towns, many in the informal settlements or shanty towns that house 40% of Namibia's people. I'm going to try to pronounce this right. In Swakopmund, there's a massive social gulf between the pretty colonial-era town center with the pastel-painted gabled buildings, home still to many grandchildren and great-grandchildren of the original colonists, and the shacks cobbled together from planks and metal sheeting that extend for miles in the north. It seems as if there's generational wealth and generational privilege being passed down in Namibia that is the effect of the genocide. The hope is that the German government will fund a land reform program to enable farms to be bought from German Namibian farmers and distributed to Herero and Nama. So I just want to stop here. And when I hear about the German government wanting to rebuy land and reallocate land, and most of my British friends here probably know this, and some of my friends in the States, the British government did one of the ways the Brits were able to deal with their slavery problem was basically paying off slave owners, and freeing slaves. Now, Britain was able to do that when it was the preeminent power in the world. And actually, they still had to pay loans off from that action, from paying off slaveholders that went up into David Cameron's administration. So these kind of actions can be can cost a lot of money. They can cost a lot of money. And it takes a commitment. German Namibians are believed to be the biggest group among the white farmers who own 70% of the country's farmland, and some of their holdings are vast. One covers 400 square miles. Now, how realistic is the potential deal? Namibia's chief negotiator, Dr. Zed Ngvari, I'm going to go with that, I'm sorry, says Germany has acknowledged they need to do something to help us reconstruct our society and agree to provide some money as part of a wider agreement to buy up land from willing settlers. I have a humble suggestion. We saw this in Evanston, Illinois, a story a couple of weeks ago. You legalize, maybe, I don't know if marijuana is legalized in Germany. I don't think it is. But the way how Evanston, Illinois is paying for its reparations program is by using legalized marijuana taxes. Yes, maybe that's the way forward for at least many areas here in the States, at least, using legalized marijuana taxes to do the social restitution. Of course, the real thing is that other colonial powers, ex-colonial powers, are concerned about this. German Namibian academic and activist Henning Melber, who has studied the background of the talks, believes other former colonial powers in Europe have privately expressed concerns to Germany that an agreement with Namibia might set off an avalanche of claims against various colonizers by nations in Africa, Southeast Asia, and elsewhere. Tanzania, the successor to the another German colony, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I guess I'm going to Tanganyika. I don't know. Is already demanding reparations for atrocities, and potentially other former colonies could follow suit. We could see this could be the beginning of a massive program of making things right, between colonial powers and their old colonies. All right, 46 comments. I'm going to have to go through this and see what's going on in the chat. Brain bug. Generational wealth is a myth because bootstraps. That's right. Nathan Timmel. Nathan Timmel was on our show last night. On the late night show on Sunday at 10:30. He has this great book out, We Are 100. If you haven't seen the show, take a look at it. If you haven't gotten his book, you should see it. It's a great thriller book. I don't want to give too much away, but it is definitely worth checking out the book, We Are 100, as well as our chat that we did. And you get to see him howl in pain, too. I'm not going to say why he was howling in pain, but he was howling in pain. All right. Let's see. Well, there we go, Lee Spanner, right? Make Hawaii a nation again on its own. Yep. A lot of people don't realize that the native government of Hawaii was undermined by, I think it was Methodists, preachers, their families, trying to get with the United States of America. So yeah, a lot of faith-based people in Hawaii laughing in pain. Yep. Oh yeah, Dr. Osiris. Decriminalized, I believe Portugal, right? Portugal is a country that's decriminalized drugs, and it hasn't fallen off into the Atlantic. They seem to be able to deal with everything. You treat it like it's a public health issue, and that's what drug use is. It's a public health issue. Jesse Beer, good to see you. Nothing. I spent like maybe a day in Amsterdam many years ago and took a look at the red light district. And it seemed to be a very well-regulated area. I mean, that was from my cursory view of the red light district in Amsterdam. Andy, if you did a best advice ever with Matt Slick, Darth Dawkins, you would have a hit. You would have to suffer to be great. Well, that would be interesting, actually. I think, Dr. Mordecai, you might be onto something. Yes, Phil Lister. They actually own quite a bit of land in Namibia. The German great-grandchildren of the colonizers. All right, I think I'm caught up to everyone. I think I'm caught up. Hopefully, fingers crossed. All right. Phil Lister, I'm glad I went back this far in the chat. Phil Lister, the Germans were terrible in Africa, but the Belgians were the experts. Oh, this is exactly it. A lot of people, especially, here in the States, who haven't read, what is it, Heart of Darkness, Joseph Conrad? I think Joseph Conrad wrote that. It was basis of Apocalypse Now, the movie. A lot of people don't understand how bad things were in the Congo. And the Belgians, the small, very small, there are a lot of small countries in Europe, but you don't really associate Belgium with having a colonial empire. But they had a huge area of land, the Congo in Central Africa, and they did horrible, horrible freaking things to those people. Horrible things. The Belgians should bleed money to that place. Oh, yes, there is, Scott Duke. It's a very long article. Let me tell you, there is a considerable amount of German population does not like the idea about reparations. They do not like the idea. A majority of them, not for all. The German population in Namibia isn't a monolithic group, but yes, there's a fair amount of the German population, the descendants of the colonizers, who do not like this idea whatsoever. All right. I think I caught up with everyone. All right, let's go to the next story. And what is the next story? Rioters, Capitol rioters, my friends. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel good. Actually, I feel pretty good about the idea that Germany is just considering and seems to be earnest in their efforts to make it right with their previous colonies. But this is another great story right here. And this has to do with the Capitol rioters. Some Capitol rioters suspects apologize as the consequences sink in. What do you mean we're going to get in trouble for breaking into the Capitol building? Well, what do you mean we're not getting offered plea deals? What? You mean I can go to jail for how long? What? You mean I'm not out on bail? Oh, links in the description, everyone. Confronted with compelling video and photographic evidence in court, dozens of rioters have apologized and expressed regret as the consequences of their actions have started to sink in. The ramifications include potential job losses, financial ruin, and possible time behind bars. This is going to have consequences for these people for the rest of their lives, and it should, said John Flannery, a former federal prosecutor and Capitol Hill lawyer. Another possible consequence for those who were captured in photographs that went viral before they even left the Capitol building. Ignominy. I'm going to try to pronounce that. That's too much of a tongue twister for me at 9 o'clock in the morning here. They're going to be busted for a very long time. The sin, can I say that word? The sin of stupidity, the sin of anti-democracy will be carried with them for quite a while. A lawyer for Dominic Pizzola, who authorities say is a member of the extremist group Proud Boys and broke a Capitol window with a police shield, said in a filing that his client's incarceration has placed his wife and 2 children in desperate financial straits. Maybe he should have thought about that before being a dickbag. Several workers at a floor installation business Pizzola manages are also out of work because Pizzola is jailed. Attorney Jonathan Zucker wrote in a February filing seeking Pizzola's release pending trial. Pizzola, the attorney, wrote, was sorry for his actions, which included posting a video giving a triumphant speech inside the Capitol while smoking a victory cigar. I have to tell you something. The way of dealing with people being out of work because their a-hole managers went down to the Capitol building isn't by releasing their a-hole managers out of jail for rioting and for being insurrectionists. The idea is that we have good labor protection laws. Good labor protection laws protect people. Having a good social safety net protects workers, even when their boss is an a-hole. All right, let's see what else is going on in this story. Among the rude awakenings, no plea deals yet, though they may be in the works, given that the attack was on what many regard as a citadel of American democracy. The sentiment among prosecutors, judge, and the public, at least for right now, isn't exactly lenient. No plea deals. that means they may just charge you to the fullest extent of the law, which is what they should be doing anyway. To date, more than 300 rioters have been charged. Several are accused of careful planning and coordinating the attack on January 6th. Many aren't accused of committing violence or damaging property, but of walking past security lines and entering restricted areas. In most cases, there's little dispute those charged did breach the Capitol building, having provided evidence of that themselves in selfies and videos posted online. What is it about phones that make people stupid? There has to be some kind of effect. There has to be some kind of peer-reviewed paper study out there that just shows you that your IQ just drops. Your ability to make decision just goes down just by having a phone with you. It's like it's like having a gun in the house, right? If you're having a gun in the house, it's more than, there's a greater chance of you hurting yourself or committing suicide or doing something stupid. I think it's the same thing with a phone. If you have a phone, there's a far greater chance of you doing something stupid. Just a personal theory. The paper might already be published. I don't know. It'd be a good thing to Google search. I'm going to check out the chat. Phone equals brain. Well, phones are pretty useful, right? Let's see. Oh, Dr. Mordecai says, I grew up with a white Christian tribe in the deepest, darkest North American jungle. Dangerous. Here's Nathan. I think the most hilarious thing about the whole situation was Trump pardoning Bannon, who used donations to buy a yacht. Right, dude? That is hilarious. He's like, yeah. It just shows you exactly how much he doesn't care, that Trump doesn't care. He tells people he's going to meet them down in the Capitol building. Never does. And then when it's come to pardon people, I got to pardon my buddy Bannon there. But no one who actually broke into the Capitol building. Oh, pure magic. We'll go to Dr. Osiris. Oh, okay. We're talking about heroin. The female hero, because they stupidly thought it wasn't addictive and would fix the rampant morphine. Oh, yeah. Yep, I could see that. That's interesting. I'm going to log that. I'm going to try to log that into my long-term memory. Sean Alexandra says, what? You mean us so-called conservatives have to take personal responsibility for our actions? I thought personal responsibility was for other people. Conservatives love to talk about personal responsibility, and you're spot on with that. But when it comes to their own actions, they're like, it has to be the blacks' fault, right? And Dr. Cyrus, I don't know if I thanked you for the 90 donation up there, but I'm going to say thank you again. I appreciate your support. All right. Oh, Jesse Beer, I'm sorry to hear that. My battery just died and just had to call roadside to give me a jump. Yep. It might be your alternator too. I've had what I thought was the battery die, and then it turned out to be my alternator because it doesn't. Yeah. But you probably already know that. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you have AAA. I hope you have some. I have AAA. I've had it for decades, and it has saved my butt many times. All right. Oh, John Hudson. This is what pisses me off. I was busted for growing weed back in 2005, and it wrecked my life. I mean, and the thing is, we all knew in 2005 that marijuana should be legal, or at least a vast majority of us knew, and thinking individuals. And people, it's like, people who were running alcohol during Prohibition, they were fighting a stupid law. They were going around a stupid law. And to tell you the truth, you want to talk about reparations, I'll talk about reparations. If the government does something incredibly stupid, like jailing, drug offenders, right? Nonviolent drug offenders, I think there's some reparations that need to be paid for that too. And maybe that creates a disincentive from the government doing douchebag things in the future. Possibly. Oh, geez. All right. Someone's going to clip Andy saying that and get him canceled. Yeah. Well, I don't have enough fan base to be canceled, to tell you the truth. But I say so many things. I write so many things that it's difficult not to be canceled, I guess. All right. I actually pay the extra for the AAA premium. So do I. All right, we're going to do the halftime show, because we're halftime through the show. Let's do this thing.
Yo, Kermit, I heard you and Miss Piggy arguing last night. Where the heck is she? Miss Piggy cheated, so it's bacon for breakfast. Bacon for breakfast. Bacon for breakfast.
That was a really fast halftime show. And I chose that video. I saw it at maybe 7 o'clock this morning. It's like Kermit twerking to Bacon and singing that song. Am I going to show it again? Yeah, I'm an infant. I'm a child with a child's sense of humor. I'm going to play.
Yo, Kermit, I heard you and Miss Piggy arguing last night. Where the heck is she? Miss Piggy cheated, so it's bacon for breakfast. Bacon for breakfast. Bacon for breakfast.
All right, so I'm back. Got my center here. Oh, thank you, Scott, dude. I always forget to ask about this, to say that. All right. Well, Phil Lister, there's some, it would make sense that if you were growing marijuana and that was your only business, then you would be part of the marijuana legalized establishment now, right? But yeah. Yep. That's just wrong on so many levels. All right, water. What's so big about water? Well, here in the United States, water, just like everything else, is a problem. I'm just going to show you the headline. We sampled tap water. This is from The Guardian, of course. We sampled tap water across the U.S. and found arsenic, lead, and toxic chemicals. A 9-month investigation by The Guardian and Consumer Reports found alarming levels of forever chemicals, arsenic, and lead in samples around the U.S. Big believer in Consumer Reports. I've said it many times that whenever I needed to buy a large product, a large item, I would go to Consumer Reports. Consumer Reports is a non-profit, so they don't take money from the services that they actually review or the products that they review. This is an insanely long article too, everyone. The link is in the description below. I'm just going to touch on a few bits. Most of you know that I have that one of the things I like talking about, because I feel like it's an existential issue here in the States, Flint, Michigan, it's lead in the water. So I'm going to be focusing a bit on that, but there's like a ton of other graphs in this piece that if you want to peruse. So basically, I'm going to skip over the first paragraph and go to the second paragraph. These are locations that had water tested as a 9-month investigation by Consumer Reports and The Guardian into the U.S. drinking water. Here we go. Since the passage of the Clean Water Act in '72, access to safe water for all Americans have been a U.S. government goal. Well, except for for the Democrats it has. I don't know for the Republicans. Yet millions of people continue to face serious water quality problems because of contamination, deteriorating infrastructure, and inadequate treatment at water plants. Consumer Reports and The Guardian selected 120 people from around the U.S. out of a pool of more than 6,000 volunteers to test arsenic, lead, PFAS, and I'm not going to try to pronounce that. I say that all the time, and then I try to pronounce it, polyfluoroalkyl substances and other contaminants. The samples came from water systems that together service more than 19 million people. So how bad can the water really be? A total of 118 of the 120 samples had concerning levels of PFAS or arsenic above CR's Consumer Reports recommended maximum, or detectable amounts of lead. No amount of lead is safe. Testing of the sample showed more than 35% of the samples had PFAS, potentially toxic forever chemicals, at levels above Consumer Reports recommended maximum. About 8% had samples of arsenic at levels above Consumer Reports recommended maximum. And in a total, 118 out of 120 samples had detectable levels of lead. I'm just going to show. I'm going to jump to this graph here. So these are 108, 120, and the graph says, it's pretty straightforward. Samples of detectable amounts of lead. Consumer Reports believes lead should not be detectable in drinking water. That sounds like socialism. That sounds like socialism. What? Not having your water poisoned by a metal that causes brain damage. Wow, that's radical. That's radical. And we'll bounce back to what is lead? Lead was found in many products, including water pipes. In 1986, the federal government banned new lead service lines, which bring water into people's homes, but it can still enter drinking water through millions of lead pipes that remain in the ground or in people's homes. It has been tied to reduced IQ and slowed growth in children, high blood pressure, and reproductive problems. We've known lead. I'm going to say it again. I am sorry I say this all the time, but we've known lead has been a problem for centuries. No, thousands of years. We know that lead's been a problem for thousands of years. And still, we can't wrap our minds around it. We can't manage it. I mean, even within my lifetime, and for many people's lifetimes here, right, who are in the chat, who are watching, lurking, observing, that there was lead in gasoline. All right, let's see what else is going on. Almost every sample tested had measurable effects of PFAS, a group of compounds found in hundreds of household products. These chemicals are linked to learning delays in children, cancer, and other health problems. More than 35% exceeded a safety threshold that CR scientists and other health experts believe should be the maximum. I'm going to say it again. Is there, I would like to see a paper about the relationship between how poisonous is your water and how likely you are to be a QAnon supporter, a QAnon conspiracist. Because I think that if I was going to graph this out, that the likelihood of you being a QAnon conspiracist is positively correlated with how much lead is in your freaking drinking water. Just a theory, but I think it's a decent hypothesis. Check out the chat. It's been a while. Well, Nathan, Biden's $2 trillion bill proposal goes after lead and water, which means they'll probably fail. Why would Republicans vote against? Why would they vote for a bill? Why would they do that to help prevent lead and water? Especially since it might help make more Republicans when you think about it. Oh, that was mean. That was mean, Andy. You shouldn't say that. Hey, how you doing? Happy National Atheist Day for all the heathens. Dude, Phil Lister. See, this is what happens when people from Europe, from other countries with functioning governments come over here. When I last visited the U.S., I was horrified that my cousin's water pipes were all lead. Horrified. And that's the natural response. I have to tell you, when I had small children, I made sure that my kids' lead levels were tested regularly to make sure that they were within, like, the safe zone. There is no safe zone. Yeah, it's madness here. Let's see. Oh, Jesse. Roadside says they'll be here in 30 minutes. Okay. Oh, you have kids with you too. That's tough, man. That is tough. I'm sorry to hear that, Jesse. All right. Let's see what else we got down here in the chat. That might be appropriate, especially down south where major overhaul of the subterranean pipe system is not in the state budget. Of course not, because why would the states pay money to make sure their citizens are healthy, right? Jesus. All right, so there's a little bit more to the story I'm going to read through. Of course, there are things that you can do kind of, sort of, here in the States to to keep your water safe, right? Water filters, but you have to get the right water filter. And does your water filter out PFAS? You know, it might do lead and other contaminants, but does it do these forever chemicals? Forever chemicals. In the article, there's one person, and you know, saying, "I never even heard about PFASs. Now I have to find a special water filter to get that out, if that's even possible." And it's not individual citizens. It shouldn't be our problem about making sure we're not poisoned by the government, by big business. It shouldn't be our responsibility. Obviously, it should be the government's responsibility to protect its citizens. Isn't that why governments, I'm going to do a throwback to Jefferson and say that governments are created to help protect the rights of the people. You would think that. I found this interesting. This isn't going to be surprising to anyone, right? I'm going to drop down to the third paragraph. Legislation passed last year by the House of Representatives would have authorized at $22.5 billion to replace lead service lines around the U.S., according to the NRDC, but the bill died in the Senate because of Republicans. The NRDC called for the Biden administration and Congress to enact legislation requiring the expeditious removal and replacement of lead lines. So yes, the Republicans basically blocked last year, when they had power in the Senate, the bill had passed the House of Representatives to get rid of the lead pipes, but the Republicans in the Senate said, no, we don't want that. Oh my freaking God. We're going to talk about Dave Ramsey in a minute. I'm going to check up on the chat. Well, that's Samuel. You raise a good point. It's the irrigation runoff and pollution from plants, and oil and petroleum-based products. Yeah, a lot of that. A lot of pollution in the water is caused by that. Dude, Phil Lister, you make a good point. When people were saying that the COVID vaccination had chips for mind control, you know, Phil laughed and just thought the water, right? It is impairing people's frontal lobes from critical thinking. And Jesse Bear, you know, homeopathic lead. It isn't just lead in the water. It has to be healthy, right, Jesse Bear? Because it's natural, it's gluten-free, and it's organic, and it's free-range lead. They just let it run through the system. All right. Dave Ramsey. I don't know if anyone here knows who Dave Ramsey is. Dave Ramsey is a financial guru. He is conservative. He is Christian. I have to tell you, I've listened to Dave Ramsey before, while in my car. And I like Dave Ramsey because he hates debt. He hates debt, and he's all about making sacrifices. I don't like a lot of what Dave Ramsey says, mind you. He is a conservative Republican. He is a theocrat, would-be theocrat, but I do agree with his hatred towards debt and what he says about personal austerity, about if you can't pay for it, you shouldn't buy it. If, you know, we're talking about luxury items, right? And the first thing you should do is to get yourself out of debt if it's humanly possible, right? However, Dave Ramsey is a bastard. Links in the description, everyone. Dave Ramsey fires employees over premarital sex. One of them is suing. I want to say that again for those of you, and this isn't April Fool's. This is not, none of these stories are April Fool's Day bits. Dave Ramsey fires employees over premarital sex. One of them is suing. See, it's right from NBC News. And I'm sure Dave thinks he's exercising his religious freedom, right? And this is what we can all expect here in the States if Republicans get back in power, is that more religious freedom, more managers, more owners of companies being able to pull this kind of crap. The company founded by the radio personality Dave Ramsey says it fired at least 9 employees in recent years for having premarital sex. One of those fired workers says in a federal lawsuit that she was fired because she was pregnant. Breathe, Andy. You just got to breathe. Caitlin O'Connor filed the lawsuit last year in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Tennessee. alleging that her firing violated the Family Medical Leave Act and discriminated against her because of her sex. O'Connor was hired in 2016 and worked as an administrative assistant to the Information Technology Department prior to her termination. In response this month, the company said that it had fired O'Connor for violating its righteous living policy and that her discrimination claim was not supported. Ramsey Solutions said in a March 8th court filing that it fired at least 8 employees for engaging in premarital sex in the past 5 years, in addition to O'Connor, and said most of them were not pregnant. Most of them. So most of them weren't pregnant. So that means they just fired pregnant women when they need their job, when they need their insurance. Excellent. 5 of them were men, the company said. The company said it does not maintain an exhaustive list of conduct that can lead to employee discipline, because it is neither practical nor required. But over time, specific rules have developed to address employee conduct. Fired for premarital sex, fired for being pregnant while not being married. Not a fake story. Not a fake story. Not at all. Not only did he fire one, there were a few women he fired for being pregnant and out of wedlock. And his defense is that, well, I fired a couple of guys who had premarital sex too. And I don't even know how he found out. What kind of Gestapo, what kind of KGB do you need within your own company to ferret out the people who are having premarital sex? That is insane, AA. That is insane. It just, yeah. Righteous living, a howl with laughter, and it's not even a comedy show. All right. Let's see what else. My wife and I used to go around about Ramsey. A lot of what Ramsey says, just like a lot of preachers, right? It's just common sense wrapped up in hate. A common sense wrapped up in hate. So, should you be out of debt? Yes. Is that slavery? Yes. If you can do it, that should be a financial goal. But it's like Jordan Peterson too. It's all these grifters, all these con people, con men and con women. They just have basic nuggets of good idea, and they wrap it up in hate and stupidity and word salad. Well, that's exactly what it is, Jesse Bear. Religious freedom equals forcing others to follow your Sky Daddy's rules. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dave Ramsey would not be able to operate his business the way he is in a civilized country, basically. He's in Tennessee. States matter. This is what I tell my children. When you think about moving to another state, if you ever do, then states matter. State protections matter. What goes on, what state laws, they matter. Let's see what else is going on in chat. I think I'm caught up from a quick look around. Oh, here it is. Brainbug. The chief purpose of government is to protect life, Thomas Jefferson, so long as it's within profit margins for Ronald Reagan. Very nice. Very nice, Brainbug. You should put that on a t-shirt. All right. I think I'm caught up with the... I believe that from what I gleaned from the article is that you can be married, you can be single, but if you're single, you can't have sexy time. You can't have sexy time if you're working for Dave Ramsey's company. And he will find out. He's like the Santa Claus of sex. All right. Wow. Right on time again. I always feel good when I'm hitting my mark, when I'm hitting time marks. Perfect. Let's finish off with something that's going to make us feel good. That'll help us feel good as we progress through the day. I don't know if that cat's stoned or maybe on catnip, but it's pretty epic. I'm going to show it again. I feel a little better now. I feel a little better about how life is. I feel a little better. I hope everyone else does. Kind of center yourself. Nathan Timmel, that kitten is smarter than me, indeed. That cat is still there, just hanging out and playing with that. Now I want to buy one, to tell you the truth. Of course, I've been trying to get a cat. I'm talking about one of the ball things. Here we go. Well, yes, Sean Alexander. Stop your little legs. Dave Ramsey can shove it up his chimney. Indeed. You smiled. See, so that helps, right? That's good. That's good. And Marmaduke Scarlet. Cuteness overload. Yeah. Well, James Henry, Tennessee is not an affluent. Excuse me while I just scratched my ear. I had like an ear thing going on there. The thing is, a lot of people just need work. They just need work. And, it's a way to get a paycheck. It's a way to get insurance, too. All right. So that's it, everyone. So what stories did we cover today? We covered Germany, in Namibia, possibly doing reparations or struggling with the issue of reparations for the genocide it committed in the early 20th century. Rioters, Capitol rioters from January 6th, being smacked around with reality. No plea deals for you. Sorry. Freaking water supply in the United States of America, turning us all into idiots, basically. More idiots, bigger idiots. And of course, Dave Ramsey firing people for having premarital sex. I wish that last story was a Poe. I wish it was something I just made up, but it is not. It is not. Post-show. After show is at 10 o'clock. The link, if you want to come in and chat, it's down there in the description. I'll post it in the chat in the after show, at 10. So if anyone wants to come in, we can talk about anything you want to. Typically do it from 10 to 11. If no one shows up, I talk into the void for a few minutes, and then I sign off. So if you want to come in, hang out at 10, that's cool. Of course, I'm doing Jenga in 3. And then at 8 o'clock, Michael Weissman, who wrote The Bible Does That, the book, and also does The Bible. No, The Bible Says What? The Bible Says What? He wrote the book called The Bible Says What? And he runs the podcast, The Bible Says What? He's a great guy. He's been on the channel before. You probably know him. I'm looking forward to talking with him. That's tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. So I got a ton of crap. And of course, Jenga at 3 o'clock. So nothing but fun. What time is it there now? It is 9:53 a.m. So Eastern time here, or Imperial time, as I would like to call it, seeing that I'm a masshole. Everyone, thank you for showing up. Thank you for your support. It is always appreciated. I will see you later on today. And if I don't see you later on today, maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Be strong. And I'm going to show the video. I'm going to thank you. Thanks to my patrons. I have to put it, Dr. Osiris there. This is, I always like putting new people on my thank you list. But this is the old thank you list I'm about to play. And then I'm going to head off. Take care, everyone.